Hello everybody, this is Roger from Roger's Reviews. I just want to do a brief review for I had a 2011 Honda PCX 125. When I bought it, this has been quite a few years ago, I had it with, I bought it used, it's just a few years old. It had, I think it had like 1,500 miles on it. It was in really good condition. The older gentleman that I bought it from, he had about 4 or 5 scooters and just needed to get rid of one. I drove it myself probably for about 2 or 3 years, and then I started letting some of the guys drive it, some of the employees at the shop drive it, and of course eventually not too much soon later, someone wrecked it. But it was still drivable. It just broke the windshield. I got a new windshield for it. Scraped up some of the side panels. And of course that guy he left. And then I had another guy drive it. I was still driving it. And then it became a shop bike because it was partially, wrecked. It didn't look as nice. So I kind of lost interest in it and just let the guys around the shop drive it. Well, it had been wrecked quite a few times after that, laid down from side to side, but we still continued to use it to get parts. And one of the guys that welds for us, he was able to use it to go back and forth to get lunch on his lunch break and what have you. And then it got wrecked again, but never stopped running. I think then I ended up fixing it and selling it, and then buying it back. And I think the guy that bought it from me, he ended up putting a rear tire on it, and he put a racing clutch or a stiffer clutch on it. Anyway, I bought it back, continued to ride it. Another employee had wrecked it, but it was still running. And then finally, someone got rear-ended, and it pretty much totaled the bike. But the cool part was I got a really good deal on it when I bought it, and they paid me more after it was wrecked, so I didn't lose any money. I actually rode it for, it started off with 1,500 miles, and after it was wrecked, it was over 15,000 miles. So you can imagine how many, the scooter would go up to 60, maybe 62 top speed. So it took quite a few years to build up that type of mileage because most of it was local in town. But I've owned probably, at one time I had 10 scooters and a few motorcycles. I've owned different Hondas. I've owned, I had some brand new Chinese scooters, 150s. I've had a couple older Hondas. I had a Suzuki Bergman, and this by far, of course I know it was rated #1 scooter for a few years, but this is by far the best scooter I've ever had. It had the lowest maintenance. It ran the best. It was actually faster than most scooters for the same size. All around it was just the best scooter, and it was kind of sporty, and it was quick. So I highly recommend this scooter. I know they're kind of hard to find now because everybody knows how good they are, and the newer ones are kind of pricey. So, but anyway, this is just a brief review on the Honda PCX scooter, the 125. I think the 150 is, I test drove one of those, and it was almost the same. I couldn't really tell the difference in speed or horsepower or top end. It was just so close. I've also had, I had a 150 movie scooter that was a little bit faster than this one, but it seems like all the Taiwanese and Chinese scooters, they're just not as reliable. I think it's because the carburetor, this Honda was fuel injected, so I never had a problem starting it. I mean, I could barely hit the start button, and it was almost like, I know in Europe they have on the same scooter, when you come to a stoplight, it automatically shuts off, and when you hit the gas, it turns back on. So the starter has to be very efficient and just really good, because all the constant starts and stops. And I think they had basically the same starter on this one, because when you touch the start button, it was like you couldn't even hear the starter engage, it would just run. It was almost like a golf cart where you just hit the pedal and it starts up and takes off. It was so similar to that. You just couldn't even hear the starter. It was, I don't know, it's hard to explain unless you actually experience it. But anyway, again, thumbs up, PCX, and a few of them, you know, I think they started making them in early 2000, mid 2000s, and they still make them today, but they're a little bit more expensive. Now they just came out with in Japan they have an EV, an electric scooter, and then they have a hybrid. I haven't heard much about those because they're not shipped in the United States right now, but I'd hope to get the electric version here soon so I can test drive one. But awesome scooter, highly recommend it. If you buy one of these scooters and you know it's in good shape with low miles, you'll have a lot of life left in it, and it'll serve you for many years, and you'll definitely be happy. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up, and please subscribe, and start doing more reviews for you. Thank you. Peace.